So can you just talk about how you feel right now?
I am trying to be present here in my body and to the people I want to talk to. We spend so much time of our life in defense mode that it almost becomes a comfortable place to be in. Mm-hmm. I believe that anger is a tool as well. Mm-hmm. And it's a tool that as women of color, as Black women, we really need to know how to master. And it's very easy to be mastered by it. And so my whole life, I feel it's like perfecting how to pick up that tool, use it, and then let it go, because it's only a tool, it's not me.
Can you talk about what your style says about you?
As much as if it is self-expression, it's also protection. You know, I'm brown, I have curves, I'm small, and so my body is always deemed less professional, it's always deemed criminal. I go to a department store and I am followed around by security while I'm being asked if they have the t-shirt in small. You're right. So there's this thing where they assume that I work there. At the same time, they assume that I'm there to steal. You know, there's this thing about this like pajama, scruffy looking chic that I cannot afford. You know, like that scruffy chic is afforded only to like white women, skinny people. And, you know, like I'm light skinned as well. I'm always trying to utilize my privilege in public space where I'm with my darker skinned family, you know what I mean? So if the police comes, I know that I'm the one that needs to step up because they're gonna criminalize me less. And so when I'm getting ready to go outside, all of that is going through my mind, and it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Can you take off your hat?
Yeah.
Or do you want to take off your jacket because you're hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, jacket's fine.
Can you explain your exact heritage, your exact...
Yeah. So my father is from Bahia, Salvador, in Brazil, and he's Black. And my mom was from Buenos Aires, and she was, again, you know, in Buenos Aires and in Argentina, she functions as white. She would not perform as white in Europe, right? I was the Afro-descendant only daughter of a single mother who was dealing with mental health, and she committed suicide when I was 5. I was away with my godmother when it happened. I do remember the afternoon she sent me away to my godmother, and I knew, you know, like I knew I was never gonna see her again. I just knew, and I was like throwing tantrums, and I was like, no, I don't want to go. I was then adopted by my aunt, so her sister, who lovingly took me in, you know, but also she had her own trauma related to the dying of her sister. And she was white, she is white, and so my Blackness was never something that was considered in my healing. And so when that happened, it sort of got added to my lack of guidance, my lack of actual representation, seeing myself in friends or in family or in TV or in ads, you know. I have 6 other brothers and sisters who live in Minneapolis. And so no, they're my half brothers and sisters. And I didn't...
Through your dad?
Yeah. And I didn't know them until February this year. I had been in touch with them through the internet for years, perhaps like 10 years now. But I had never met them physically, and that was a whole science fiction trip. Wow. Because you're literally in front of somebody who has part of you as well. The pitch and melody of a laugh, and you're like, wait, I thought that would be cultural. Like I you know, the way that I impose my voice is like linked to where I grew up, but like actually we have the same laugh. What is that? And that actually makes you think about the ancestors that are running through us. Being like an afro-diasporic person, and having that destiny where I'm literally like separated from my Black family, to be able to encounter that and to be able to forgive my father was me remembering who I am.
It's amazing.
Yeah. You know, it's this thing where I would have loved to spend 2 weeks with them, but I only had 3 days because I had to work. The fact that I never met my brothers and sisters was also because I could not afford to do that trip before. You know, it took me 10 years to amass enough clout to be booked in America so I could go and meet my brothers and sisters and talk to my father and forgive him. And so it's really hard to stay cool in front of that when you're seeing, you know, other people, white folks that can move globally and have no barriers and have no problems getting to wherever place.
Have
You
the
know?
privilege of traveling anywhere, seeing anybody, staying as long
And
as they
healing,
want
like
to.
healing is definitely a privilege. So I have footage of my father seeing me for the first time, and he didn't know that I was gonna be there. We went to his house and he was in the bathroom, and he came out of the bathroom and almost fell on the floor because I was there magically.
So when's the last time you saw him?
Last time I saw him was when I was 20.
10 years ago, right?
Yeah, I had a birthday party, and so he got drunk. And he was riotous, you know, he was looking for problems, and he was playing out his own trauma of being a black man abused by society, criminalized, being thrown in prison, etc., etc. He, you know, that comes out when you're intoxicated.
So then you didn't talk after
And so I stopped talking to him. 10 years later, I was like, yo, you were a dead Negro. You could have been dead so easily. And actually you survived and you made all of these beautiful children. Thank you. Thank you for actually being able to survive. That must have been so much work for you. And when I was 18, 20, I didn't have like a clear image of how much work it takes to survive. Just to survive, not even to thrive, just basics. And that doesn't take away his toxic masculinity. But it put me in a place where I can transform it. When my mom died and I was adopted by my aunt and my uncle, there was this pressure of like, you come from a sick tree, so you really need to watch out all of your tendencies.
What do they mean by that?
My aunt was constantly scared that I would become a drug addict, that I would, you know, become mentally unstable, that I would get pregnant early, that I would fail at life. And in a way, her strategy in her own pain and trauma was to be like, you are no victim. You are somebody that needs to fight these tendencies really hard. So you better go out there and fight. And I am thankful for that because it's definitely taken me places, but it's also been an incredibly difficult thing to dismantle in myself.
Can you talk about like the ways in which you heal yourself through pleasure?
I mean, the first step is to be able to acknowledge that you're in pain. So often we learn to numb the pain. We're made to keep going, keep going, whatever, you know? And like the first thing to recover that pleasurable relationship to yourself, to your body, to your soul, is to acknowledge that whenever you're in pain, something is wrong. When you have a painful period, you go to the doctor and the doctor is like, oh, that's normal, have some ibuprofen. That's not normal. I do not need to numb the symptoms. I need to go and seek for the root of this pain. You know, I remember being 15 and starting my sex life, but like being told by the doctor, oh, let me give you some pills so you don't get pregnant. And I remember being like, hold on, 15. Hold on, so you're telling me I'm gonna have to take a pill a day for the rest of my life just because I'm having sex? I'm not gonna be depending on this pill to be sexually active. What needs to change is the way we have sex. The ways that we are teaching sexuality are extremely sex repressive and heterosexual. We're talking to children about sex is bad, sex is dangerous, you can get pregnant and you can get sick. There are so many ways to protect yourself. As a horny person, I was like, this cannot be wrong. Like, this is God's gift. Why is there so much shame and fear and guilt around this? Birth is something that is, again, deemed to be painful. You will give birth in pain, right? And so there's so many things that could be done. Like, for example, stimulating clitorally people that are giving birth to help relax that whole channel. We would be having people that are also receiving sexual pleasure to give birth. There is ecstatic birth. Like, we can aspire to that.
I was just gonna ask you, like, your perspective on, like, your mom and forgiveness, or was there anger? Do you feel like you've come to a place of forgiveness of that?
My mom is still vibrating here because she was worried about me when she died. And so it's a constant job of saying, it's okay, I'm okay. You can go, Mom. It's okay. You can leave. I love you. I forgive you. I'm sorry. And thank you. Any water that the body wants to shed is blessed and should flow freely, you know? But I have a hard time with my tears. I cry really only when it's like literally like the last, like I'm at the bottom, and I'm like, and I sometimes wish I could cry a little bit early just to release.
When do you feel the most beautiful?
What really makes me feel ugly or not enough or too much is the gaze. This white supremacist, sex repressive, totalitarian colonial gaze. And sadly, one of the biggest successes of this whole colonial mindset is to make you internalize that gaze and look at yourself with that gaze. Take a selfie and be like, she looks fat, she looks this, she's not toned, she's not this. Like, what was beauty before mirrors, you know? The most difficult is to say, I have value. I am valid, and that value is not because of the job that I have, it's not because of the clothes that I'm wearing, it's not next to who am I sitting. I have value in myself. Because I'm alive and I have kept myself alive, I have value. And so in those moments is where I feel the beauty of it all, and therefore of myself.
Why in your body, in your skin, in your journey, why is it a good place to be?
Through this body, I get to heal. Through this body, I get to connect with the folks that empower me, that I empower. And also look at this glow. I mean, yeah, I don't know, like, sometimes it's a good place to be because it is, you know. It is.
Thank you so much. That was extraordinarily amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like the weight. I think that is such a gift that we're together going to be able to give to the world.
I hope so.
I know so. I know so.
This is my mom, Elisa.
And this is my daughter, Lily, and we're the creators of StyleLikeU.
Join our movement for self-acceptance by following us on Instagram, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and buying our new book. Right, Mom?
Yes. It's amazing.